Hey guys, it's Gwen. So today we're gonna create a simple logo animation in After Effects. Now we're gonna start by creating a new composition. Here, you can name your composition into any kind you want. But for now, I'm just gonna name it as logo animation. So this is a setting I'm using. You can follow my setting or you can just mess around. Here, I'm setting my durations into 5 seconds. I'm also using the color white as my main background. If you're done with everything, you can just click OK. So to start this project, we're gonna need to right click and create a new solid. Select new and click solid. Okay, so if you got any color palettes, it would be so much better if you use your own palettes, since we're gonna play with lots of color for this project. But for now, I'm just gonna use some random colors that pop up in front of me. Now we're gonna continue our project. Select the masking tool and choose the ellipse tool. If you can't find the ellipse tool, just press it and it will give you some masking shapes. So if you're done, create a circle by dragging it until you've made your own circle. Okay, click M on your keyboard to remove the panels. Now, enable the motion grid. The proportional grid. Click S on your keyboard and set the scale to 60. Click P on your keyboard and change the position of your circle into the middle. Great! Now, select the anchor tool and change the anchor point. Move the anchor to the center. Okay, when you're done, select again the selection tool, or you can just click V on your keyboard. Now we're going to disable our proportional grid. And here, we've got ourselves a beautiful circle. Great. As you see, I've set my duration to 5 seconds at the beginning of the project. So now I'm going to go to the first second, and I'm gonna click S on my keyboard. Now I'm gonna click the bomb beside the scale. And now I'm gonna go to the beginning of the timeline and change the value into 600. And as you see, I'm making myself a zoom in transition. Now select all the keyframes, right click on the keyframes, select the keyframe assistant, and choose Easy Ease, or you could just choose F9 on your keyboard. And as you see, right after I Easy Ease my keyframe, it looked much more smoother. But to make it even smoother, add graphs. Here I'm using my own graph, but if you have better graphs, you can just use your own, it's optional. And as you see, I've created myself a beautiful zoom in circle. But I think it's too short, so I'm gonna move my keyframe a bit to 1.30, and I'm gonna change my graphs a bit. Okay, now I've got myself a perfect zoom in transition, but to make it even perfect, I'm gonna enable the motion blur, so it will make my zoom in smoother, like this. It's being so much better since I add the motion blur. Okay, now click P on your keyboard. Right-click the position and select the separate dimensions. Now we're gonna go to the X position. On the first timeline, select the bomb beside the X position. Now go to the first second and change the value a bit to the left, like this. Another bit to the left, and more, and enough. Now select all the keyframes and right click on it. Select keyframe assistant and easy it. And as you see, it's making a zoom in and left transition. Now we're gonna go to the graph, but for this graph, it's a little bit different from our zoom in graph. Here, you don't need to change anything, you just need to pull it a bit to the left and right. So it will make something like this. This is what I want. If you don't think your circle transition isn't really good yet, you can just move the graph until you see that it's perfect, like this. I don't really think this is good, so I'm still playing with the graph. Okay, I'm not really sure that this is good, so I'm gonna put the keyframe a little bit to the right. I'm gonna put it on the second. Okay, I guess this is much more better. Good. Okay, so now we're gonna create a text layer. Right click on it, select new and choose text. Here you can write anything you want, but for now, I'm just gonna type in square. Great. Now I'm gonna select all the letters and go to character. Here I'm making all my letters into bold. And I'm gonna pick lemon milk for my font. Okay, now I'm gonna choose medium for my lemon milk font, since bold is too bold. Okay, I'm so sorry for your information. I forgot that I use a free version of the recording app, which makes me to only record the first 10 minutes of all the recordings. So I actually record like about 20 minutes, but I don't know about this thing and it's only cut off. So please subscribe and like to help me get a premium version for the recording thing. Okay, so here I guess I'm just gonna repeat all the cycle of me making it. Okay, here as you see, I've got myself a drop shadow. Now, if you are wondering how in the world do I make those color things on your text layer, so it's pretty simple actually. So before you start, you're gonna need to select all the letters one by one. For example, here I'm gonna select the letter S first. And here I'm gonna change the color into any color I want. But for now, I'm just gonna use red. If you got a color palette, it will be so much better. So if you got your first color, you're gonna continue and select the second letter and change the color into anything you want. And for the next color, if you want to have the same color but you don't really know how to get the same one, you could just use the eyedropper tool. Just drop it into the place where you want it to have the same color, if you get what I mean. Okay, so that's how I make these wonderful colorful texts. So continuing, here I've added myself a drop shadow. So just go to Effect and Presets and search for drop shadow, then drag it into the layer. But here, I've dragged my own drop shadow. I've changed the shadow color into the navy blue so it has the same color with the circle. I've changed the distance into 15 and the direction 135 degrees. Okay, that's for the drop shadow. Okay, now I'm gonna click P on my keyboard, and if you kind of forget how to do this thing, you just need to right click on the position, select the separate dimensions. Now click the bomb beside the X position on your text layer, and you kindly want to go to the middle of the timeline and move the X position a little bit to the right, like this. And there you go. Now we're gonna select all the keyframes and easy ease it. If you forgot how, keyframe assistant and easy ease. And there you go. Now, for the moment we've been waiting for, we're gonna do the graphs. Here you can follow my graphs, or you could just make on your own. Okay, so now this is what I've got. It's kind of beautiful. So now for the circle thing. Here, still using the drop shadow for the effect. Just drag it into the layer, like what I'm doing right now. And do the drop shadow. For the shadow color, I change it a little bit to indigo for the color, like this. And for the opacity, I'm still using 50%. And for the direction, I'm using 245 degrees. And for the distance, I'm using 45. Like this. But here, to make it like two things, I kinda make my keyframes like I started from the beginning of the timeline. And I add more keyframes a little bit to the middle of the timeline. So to make some duplicated drop shadow, I kinda duplicate the drop shadow effect by clicking Ctrl D on my keyboard. And then you got yourself a duplicated circle, like that. And for the transition, where the circle comes in, on the first middle of your timeline, click the bomb beside the distance when it's still 45. Then click 0, whatever it is. Okay, pre-compose. Okay, select all your clips and pre-compose. And I'm gonna make a fake zoom for my project, for my composition. Here, just click S on your keyboard, make a kind of zoom transition, but to make it different, I kind of changed the graph a little bit. So if you want to see my graph, it's something like this. Ta-da! So pretty easy. And there you go. You have yourselves a simple logo animation, which is very beautiful. But yeah, it's very beautiful. Thank you so much for listening. I'm so sorry if I don't really explain it very well. But feel free to go comment on the comment sections, because I'm gonna reply to everything, every single thing you share to me or ask. Feel free to comment, because I'm gonna answer all your questions to this tutorial. So, thank you for watching. God bless you.